Morning, everyone, and welcome to the 18th edition of the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. We've got a big show here today. We've got our junior Celeste. Celeste, what's your last name?
Reed.
Celeste Reed, that's right. We've got a big-time player here, big-time post. It's been fun streaming her games this year, the girls' games, and just watching them go to work and having a great season so far, playing hard, tough basketball. So can't wait to talk about all of that here coming up. We've got some big news coming up, of course, in White County. This next week, it starts spring sports, their first practices. So you got track, boys soccer, you got baseball, softball. There's one other sport I'm forgetting. I feel like I've got tennis, that's right. Yeah, Warriorette tennis and Warrior tennis. So I think the head coach, I think he's excited for that. So I think that's old, some guy named Coach Moore. So either way, he's, they say when he talks, his hair turns red. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. I don't know. But, yeah, so he'll be starting up with them. So, yeah. So looking forward to all that. We'll be having some of the spring sports coaches and seniors coming on next week to kind of get that tipped off. But right now, last night, we finished up the regular season in girls and boys and Warriorette and Warrior basketball. So the huge game over in Cumberland County, over in Crossville, Tennessee. Now, so let's get to know Celeste just a little bit now. We've got all the seniors interviewed in the girls basketball, and so we want to start going to one of our juniors, and want to talk to Celeste here. Been a huge player, both as a starter, both just different scenarios. Kind of went through some injury woes there towards the middle of the season, but having you back's been awesome, obviously. So Celeste, you're a junior. Now, do you play any other sports at White County?
No, but I'm going to start track this season.
Nice. Now, what events do you want to run for or do for track?
The shot put where you throw the weight.
Yeah, you gotta be real tight and just chunk that in. Everybody thinks you just like hurl the thing, but you have to like. I one time knew a college hurdler. No, was it hurdler? Did you say hurdle? You said no. You said shot put. I one time knew a college shot put player. I went down to Mexico for my studies when I was studying Spanish. And she explained all about how you have to stay tight and move. It's a much more complicated movement than people think, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. That'll be really exciting. So that'll be coming up here in a little bit. But first, we've got some big business on the court here. So you're doing track. Now you're a junior this year. Now you play officially the 4 or 5.
The 5, I guess.
The 5, I mean, most of the 5. Yeah. So a lot of times when you get the ball, if you ever watch the live streams, the Maroon Girl on the road, you'll hear me talk about Celeste gets the ball, goes to work, down low, shot. So it seems like when you get the ball and you got a head of steam, unless there's somebody just specifically right in front of you, you're going to split 2 defenders and put the ball up. So it's been a lot of fun to have you. It's kind of why when you were injured there for a little while, we kind of missed that inside presence. I think sometimes it's kind of like when all else fails, get the ball to Celeste down low, so we can make that happen, right? So I know you and Nia and Ava, gosh, y'all can be a 3-headed monster down there. It's good stuff. It's fun stuff to watch. And also on the defensive end, I mean, there's just a lot of active hands, a lot of active rebounds, active different things like that. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. Now, I thought I'd put a poll up here. Celeste, just to kind of look at the overview this season here, we just finished regular season. What has been your most memorable game this season, you think?
It's probably either Upperman or Livingston. Like Upperman home and then Livingston home. Yeah, I gotta say it's either one of those.
Gotcha. Now I know the Livingston game was a big. Because when we were there, any little touch was a foul, basically.
Yeah.
And but when it was at our house, it was a little more. I guess you might say, I don't want to say normal, but it was more the way it's normally called, right?
Yeah.
And you were able to. I think you had like 30 points that night, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or something along the lines of that. Yeah, it was a different kind of game, right? And we ended up winning by 15 points that night?
Yeah.
So that was pretty big. Now the Upperman at our house, did we beat them in girls basketball that night? Okay, so that's huge. Of course, that's the defending state champions right there. Mm-hmm. Which ironically, last night we did lose to Cumberland County, but that put us in the 4 seed. And it's ironic that 4 seed last year was the very team that won state. The team that was 4 seed in our district won the state championship, which goes to show you how competitive our district is, first and foremost. The girls' basketball tradition and the boys' basketball tradition, for that matter. But the 4 seed in this district went on to win the whole thing, which is pretty crazy. So now we've got DeKalb coming up, correct?
Yeah.
So that'll be at Roy Sewell Gymnasium, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So, all right, now Cumberland County last night, it seemed like we couldn't get going. we started off really good. The first quarter was good, and it just kind of got away from us. What do you think? Just not hitting shots, different things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't click last night, and then I got in foul trouble, so I was out for a while.
Yeah, there was two. It was two quick fouls, and I thought they were a little bit nitpicky, obviously. And it's like, well, we lost her for a little bit. I think you didn't come back. I think you came back maybe towards the end of the second quarter. I think.
Yeah, I didn't come back till after halftime.
After halftime, okay. Yeah. So I knew it was something along the lines of that. So yeah. That certainly didn't help things at all. But played a lot of players last night. Played a few freshmen, played different players. And I think Bella hit a huge three there at one point in the game. So that was really big. So, yeah. No, they played real, Cumberland County played well. That was their senior night and everything. So, but it was an exciting game, a hard-fought game. Now, going into DeKalb, did we have any trouble beating them last time, you think?
No, I don't. A little bit. I think we played better the first time, but I was still a little bit timid to play them because there are places where I got my mouth hurt.
Right.
But yeah, we played good, but it wasn't as good as the first time.
Gotcha. Well, hey, listen, that's the way things go, and but it should be a good game and a good trip to the region tournament. It's funny. I've been around teams that for years couldn't even make it to the region tournament. It's not always a guarantee, or it's not always those types of things. So it should be a big matchup. Now, is that going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday. It's
on Tuesday night. Okay. I'd heard a rumor they might play on Wednesday night, but that was just I think it was just a rumor. But I can't remember. Maybe it was because there was a toss up or something that happened. There was some reason why they thought they might want to put on Wednesday night, but I'm glad it's on Tuesday night. That'll be good. The kids can go to church on Wednesday night, so that'll be great. Now, Thursday, the boys will host. Who do they host?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, we don't really know who they're playing yet, but they're also the 4 seed, correct?
I think so.
Now, they were locked in before the game even started last night. That was, no matter what happened, they were going to be the 4 seed. Gotcha, yes. Of course, they got a big win last night. Congratulations to them. They did a great job. Should have Christian on here in a little bit. He told me, though, he might have something to do, so we may not be able to have him today. But glad to have Celeste on here. So now, Celeste, let me ask you a few other questions here. Did you grow up in White County?
Yes, and then I lived in California a little bit when I was really little.
Okay. What part?
San Diego.
San Diego. There you go. That's awesome. Now, did you always go to school at White County, or did you go to school somewhere over there a little bit?
I went a little bit in preschool there, and then I moved to White County.
Gotcha. So you grew up in the tradition. You got to see the different things. Did you go to the ball games when you were young?
No.
You didn't go? Okay.
Didn't.
Okay, gotcha. So what was the first time you entered into Roy Sewell Gymnasium?
Well, I used to go to the games, we lived down the road on Allen Drive in that subdivision.
Yes.
So when I was little in elementary school, my dad used to take us all the time and we'd watch them play.
Gotcha. So I'm sure it was huge for you then, that first time. So what was the first time I guess, junior high never does play in that gym, correct? They have their own gym they play in, correct?
Yeah, I think some regional games, they go play there. But
okay,
not much.
Gotcha. So we've talked about a lot of the seniors in the past, what it's been like to enter into that tradition. The first time when you see the big gym, you see this old gym with so much tradition, so much history, all the band, the crowd, the cheerleaders, everything like that. So what was that experience like for you when you first started?
It was really cool. I thought the gym was so big
right.
that I wasn't used to something like that, but I thought it was so cool. And that the fact that I would maybe get to play there one day was just so cool.
There you go. So when did it become normal for you? How long did that take?
It took a couple weeks freshman year. I really wasn't used to it, but after a while, I ended up getting used to it.
Gotcha. Now, your freshman, sophomore, of course, I was not here. I just moved here this year, and so glad to be here. But your freshman, sophomore year, did you see some playing time, or was there some different games you did? Or?
Yeah, I started my sophomore year, and then freshman year, I think I was second man off the bench. So I would. It was me and Nia. We were the subs for the senior girls, which was like Mia, Gracie, Morgan, all of them.
Okay. Now, would you say you were kind of like maybe the role that like Lakeland plays right now?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So she's having a great freshman year so far. She's even putting up some points. Hit a few big threes this season. We're getting a lot of different minutes. And, of course, Bella's coming up. She's getting in there a little bit more and everything. That's exciting and things like that. I talk about all that. A lot of schools, this is one of the biggest schools I've ever coached at. So a lot of schools like this, they're very senior heavy because they do have such a big classes, right? But a lot of schools it's nothing to see a freshman or sophomore get a lot of playing time. So, but that's big. You got to start your sophomore year, and then came out, started obviously this year, and it's had a big season so far, and looking to have a good senior year coming up. So now, what do you want to? Are you wanting to try to play beyond the high school level?
Yeah, hopefully college ball.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Sounds good. Are you doing any travel ball in the off season, or do you do any AAU or anything like that? Okay. Okay. Do you know my buddy Tim Lounsville?
Yes.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah,
Of course. Now, I don't know if I've told you the story. He's the man who got me here, or he was the man who gave me we went to. He was actually my assistant coach in soccer. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, right? And back home in West Tennessee, in Gibson County, and he was talking to me about how they had just built a brand new soccer field at White County, and he had some friends over here, and I didn't even know what White County was. And I asked him about it the next year, and he thought, oh, that's a great place. You ought to check that out. So he was the connection that got me over here. But I know he's huge in girls basketball, so with AAU and different things like that, college scouting and all that stuff. But he does a great job with the Tennessee Report, as he has over there. Yeah, he does a great job. He's the source for girls basketball in Tennessee, so he does a great job there. I'm sure he travels all over the state and country, all over the southeast during the summer, so that's big time. So. Yeah, but of course that'll be coming up here in a little bit. You'll be doing all that stuff, I guess, in the summer and everything. Now, have any schools started talking to you or kind of mentioned anything to you?
Yeah, I get a couple that send letters and stuff like that.
Okay, so who are some of those?
Columbia sends a few. I get camp invites like Lipscomb.
Yeah.
And some schools from Louisiana.
Good. That's awesome. That's exciting. That's exciting times. Well, I tell you, it'll start to come in waves your senior year. That's kind of how that process goes. Your junior season, they start getting all the highlights out, then they start just inundating you with letters and all kinds of different things like that your senior year. So it's gonna be exciting times. But that's all coming up in the summer. Right now, we've got we've talked to all the seniors and all the different players, and it really doesn't matter what place we're going into in the district tournament. We want to get back to region. We want to get back to the district championship. I know that was last year was kind of an upset with Upperman. We weren't really expecting that to happen. We were expecting back in the district championship, so we want to try to get back to that. So, what do you think the strength of this? So, going into this district tournament. What makes you confident about the strength of this team? What's y'all's biggest strength, you think?
I feel like communication, because we've been playing with each other for so long, so we all know how to play together. And I think us talking so much just helps us get through it. Like if we talk on screens, then we can get through that. Talk on, rebounding, boxing out, stuff like that.
You talk about that. You talk about communicating on screens. I remember last night, I mentioned it during the stream. There was a play where a Cumberland County player set a screen, and I don't think the player reacted to it quickly enough, and there was somebody behind KB. KB steps back and then runs around the screen, and that may have been what you're talking about there. Like, hey, watch out for this. What's the word y'all use, the terminology y'all use to try to avoid those things?
I say, there's a screen coming, I'm leaving you room, and then I'll back up, and she slips right in between it.
Got you. So you're letting her know there's a screen, and that you're out of the way. Come on in. So and that was able to switch, and that was a big defensive play. That play, but I remember thinking, a lot of players would have seen that, but you're saying that comes from that communication, just talking. Do you feel like that's gotten better all season?
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah, it's gotten a lot better.
Yes. Well, it seems to me it's gotten better because the results on the court, the movement, the defense, it just looks like it gets better and better every game. So it's exciting times. So what else do you think? So communication. What else do you think?
I think hustling. Hustling to get rebounds.
Yes, I've said that so many times during the games that y'all's effort and hustle. Getting hands up on defense, different things like that. It creates turnovers, which then in turn create points. So for sure. Now, if we beat DeKalb, do we know who the next round will probably be?
I think it just depends on who all plays on Tuesday and who they beat.
Right. Okay. So let's see. I would think the 3 and the 6, and then the 4 and the 5. So we're playing the 5th seed. So we'd either play the 2nd place or the 1st. Probably going to be the 1st place, wouldn't it? No, I don't really know. Because it would depend on the bracket, how the bracket would work. Yeah. Yes, so you really wouldn't want to put the 1st place against the 3rd place. So I'm not really sure how that would work. So I'm not really sure. Either way, so there's that. Probably I guess the first place team, though, don't you think? Because that would reward the first place team with not having to play the third place team. I would think. That's my assumption there. That's my stab at bracketology right there with the district tournament. So, but I do know we will be hosting that first game. Now, who won the district in the regular season?
Last year?
No, this season.
Oh, this season?
Like, because didn't the number one team don't they get the host this year?
I think it's Livingston.
It's Livingston, so we're gonna be traveling over to with the seats out on the. That's a neat little unique experience. They've got the seats out. I've never seen that. They actually have folding chairs out in a section there in front of the seats. So hopefully, maybe probably different referees though. So probably you're right. You weren't quite really a fan of those referees that night. There was it was an interesting night. I thought at the start of the game last night it was going to be the same way. I thought, oh, here we go. So just somebody touches it, or somebody does this, somebody does that. So, but and the thing is, it'd be easier if it was always the same thing. But it's not. I try to tell people the referees are like the weather. Sometimes the wind's just blowing. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes it's sunshine. Right. So it's just one of those. You just never really know. But sometimes they're going to call it tight. Sometimes they're going to call it loose. Whatever how that happens. But hopefully different referees that night. Or hopefully if it's the same ones they let it play out a little bit, let a little more physical play happen. I really feel like at Livingston, if it had been a more wide open game, I think it would have looked more like the result at White County. We would have been a much closer, or we would have, but it just, when anything, I think it hurt Livingston too. I think they got into foul trouble, we got into foul trouble. It was just back and forth, and it just ended up working out in their favor. But sheesh, it was a rough game that night, but hopefully be at Livingston, so we'll see who we play. But of course, if we can beat the Cab, that takes care of business to get back to the region tournament, and that's the thing we want to make sure. Now, I guess their district should be the same. It's got who at Page, who else?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Page, but
I know Page is one of them, obviously,
yeah.
And then if they advance the region tournament, we don't know for sure they're going to advance the region tournament. But that'll be that other district, and then So now, the last time we were at Sub-State, I think that was 2015, maybe. I mean, did you go see that game? Do you remember that game at all?
No, I think I was in middle school, like 6th grade. I remember the region was held at. No, I don't think I remember that well.
Okay.
I think I remember hearing of the games. I don't think I ever actually went to them though.
Gotcha. I understand. Well, that was when I was in middle school, I went to all kinds of, in fact, that's how I started my mascotting career. So fun fact, my 8th grade year, so I played football, and I played soccer in high school, and of course in the YMCA Little Leagues. But what got me started in mascotting when I was in high school was my 8th grade year. I just wanted to go to the games for free. I wanted to ride the bus. So I literally went to my cheerleading sponsor, and I was like, hey, I asked her 3 different times. And the third time was almost more like a joke, and she finally looked at me in frustration and said, if you can create a suit of a pirate, I'll let you get out there and run around. And lo and behold, I went home, found and got a bandana, got the whole 9 yards. And it turned out I ended up doing it all the way, even into college. I went from that to Gibson County to Dyersburg State and enjoyed it, and it was fun. But but I didn't go to any of the high school games until I got into high school. I guess I just didn't know people in high school. It was just kind of a different experience. Also there though, the high school wasn't in our town. There was multiple towns, and they all consolidated. Here it's more of a Sparta-centric, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who live in Dole, but there's not any other games. I mean, it's White County, right? And so you see a lot of little kids running around. Sometimes they all like to congregate on the steps.
Yeah.
Going in, and you had some older guys saying, y'all get out of the way. But it's fun to watch. Sometimes you'll see them, they'll have they put their little legs out there. You shouldn't be doing that, but they're running around, they're having fun, they're yelling. I remember last night, it was a cute moment. There was these 2 little kids running around the gym after the ball games, and they were yelling, Japheth, come over here. So I mean, they look up to you guys, and y'all are their heroes. And I know y'all looked up to them when y'all were the wee little children as well. But it really is fun, and they may not even know them personally, but they know the names. They know this name, they know Tripp, they know Celeste, they know Nia, they know all these different players and stuff, and it's fun to watch them become a part of that tradition and be a part of that. So it's a lot of fun. So of course, potentially this could be the last game at Roy Sewell of the season. So it's a big night looking up for DeKalb. Now, of course, we could get back to Roy Sewell if we get to sub-state, if we could win the region tournament. So we still have another shot at playing at Roy Sewell, but could potentially be the last home game for these seniors. So that would be bittersweet. You know, but listen, you don't have to. I try to tell folks you don't have to win the district or the region to win the state. So you have to just keep surviving and advancing. You can get at least 4th place in the district tournament, at least 2nd place in the region tournament. You can go to sub-state and go to state and win it all. So so it's exciting. So yeah. So that being said, so what do you think your toughest game of the season was? What do you think the game what was it? The game you got hurt, or was it other games that?
Well, the game I got hurt, that was pretty tough. But
That was intense.
I think it might have been Upper Mid at their place though when we lost.
Okay.
That was
that was a fun one to watch. It was fun to watch. I'm sure playing was fun, but it was also daunting. It was just back and forth. They really wanted to win that game, which made beating them at our house even better, right? Because beating them, kind of putting them in their place, saying, "Hey, listen, no, we're still White County," But you could tell they were playing desperate that night over at Upper, and they really wanted to do anything they could to win that game. You could see the emotion in their faces. They wanted to do anything they could to try to pull that one out. They are the defending state champions. But the thing is, it's to show you how competitive our district is. They're the defending state champions, and yet they are playing like underdogs when they played against you guys. They played desperate ball just to try anything. Anytime they hit a 3, they were strung on their arms. They were just excited because they knew they were competing and ended up beating White County that night. And then, of course, when they came to our house, we shut that down, right? But that's what made it so competitive. And I think that's why they played so desperate and so hard at Upperman, because they realized, hey, when we go back over to Roy Sewell, it's going to be a hard game. So and that's what makes it special, right? Because to be able to have those hard games and have the fun games and different things like that. So I always think about maybe a hard game, but an amazing game y'all played. It may not have been the best shooting game, but the Cookville game at Cookville, to me, y'all kept coming back. I think y'all terrified Cookville because they said we got up by 20 points and they're only down by 4. We can't get rid of them. We just can't get rid of them, right? So I think that was a fun game for sure to stream. I know that was my first game to have the Maroon Gray on the road, so I think that was a fun game to stream and be able to get things like that. But either way, bigger games coming up. Now, what's your high score of the season so far, you think?
I think 35 against Livingston.
Against Livingston, okay. I didn't know if it was any of the other bigger, kind of the smaller games like Macon County. Macon County was y'all blew them out of the water at Macon County, correct?
Yeah, at Macon County we did, yeah.
Now, at White County, it was a little bit closer.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, that was funny too, because I thought, well, we're only up by maybe 2 or 3. And it seemed like, I don't know what was said. I think, now this is me interpreting what happened. What I think happened was y'all went into halftime and Coach Dodge and said, now girls, listen, we got to really try hard and really believe. And he said those positive words and that inspired y'all, right? Is that how he did that? Is that what he said to get y'all fire under y'all?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right? Yeah. He's like, girls, I believe in you. You can do a good job. And we just got to try a little harder, right? I'm sure that's exactly how he worded it at halftime. Because whatever he said at halftime, y'all came out and pressed and just wore them out in the second half, right? That was a hard press. That was y'all were getting all after them, hands in, double teaming, trapping. It was all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm glad he did that. It's good. Yeah. You just said, girls, I believe in you. You're doing a great job. I'm sure that's how he worded that halftime speech. Maybe a little different. I don't know. I'm not in his head, so I don't really know. But whatever he said, y'all played. Y'all definitely played much more aggressive in the second half, and just I think at one point we were up by we went on like a 12, 15-point run or something like that in the third quarter, and you could even tell on their face, they're like, oh no, we woke a sleeping giant, right? So and that's good, and sometimes you just need games like that. You're going through, you're almost like walking through the motions, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're down by 5 points, we should be beating this thing, right? So what do you think some key moments this season have been for y'all? What have been some moments that made y'all say, we need to do better, or hey, this is our time, or what do you think some of the more critical moments for you guys this season was?
Yeah, one of them was definitely against Macon County the other night because we should never have been losing to them. At halftime, we were down by like 2 points or something. And then another one was, I think it was DeKalb at home because we played them there. The score was 92-44.
Wow, yes.
And then we played, and then they came to our place, and then the score was way closer, and it should not have been that close. So then we realized we had to pick it up. And it always happens after halftime. Look, we'll play like decent in the first half and go through the motions, and then we go in the locker room, and then we come out and like change our mentality and like just wipe them out.
Well, I'm sure it's because Coach Dodge is like, we got to try harder, right? We got to play harder, right? That old positive look there. So yeah, but So now, do you think also there were other like in some of the games that were losses that were like, hey, we got to change this, hey, we got to do that? What do you think some of those harder moments were that kind of defined the season?
I think one was definitely last night. Like that was a hard game to play, but there was just some stuff that, we could have done better and other stuff we could have done. But I think, we really tried to pull that through. But
so let me ask you a question. What do you think y'all's best game y'all played in the season has been? Like the game where you said, that's White County basketball. That's the kind of White County basketball. That's where you're at basketball we want to see the rest of the year. What do you think the best game has been so far?
I think it's a tie between Upperman home and Livingston home.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, that's the fun thing. So that night I was taking tickets up. One of the teachers needed somebody to take tickets up. Of course, it was a home game, and I don't stream the home games because Warrior Media, which I say this every show, Candace Allen. Is there anyone better than Candace Allen? There's no one better than Candace Allen. She does an amazing job. Her kids do a great job. They just do a fantastic job. I'm just over there with an iPad at the away games, just trying to just turn them and I don't do near as good a job as they do. They've got multiple camera angles, just all kinds of fun stuff. So they obviously have all the home games. I just do the away games with my wee little iPad and my broken tripod. That tripod is broken. I have to tape that one. The other tripod works great. But actually last night, fun fact, we were trying to get the tripod, so the iPad was sitting there, right? And the iPad kept wanting to lean down, so I kept having to hold it. Well, what I found out was I needed to screw that back, right? But here's the problem. As I'm trying to fix that, it gets flipped upside down. Well, here's the problem. The camera also flips upside down. So when I get it right back up, it won't go back straight. For like 5 minutes there, between the girls and the boys, it wasn't during any action. That's good. But during the girls and boys games, there was an upside down camera angle. There were people on the Facebook like putting little laughy emojis because they're like, "What's going on there? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not even really sure how I fixed it." Somehow I kept fiddling the buttons, and all of a sudden it finally went right up. I was like, "I'm not touching it again. Just gonna leave it alone." And I finally figured out how to screw that thing back, and it got it tight. But either way, long story short, I was taking up tickets at night, and I can remember I remember thinking two things. I was like, "Okay, I hope there's not as many fouls tonight." For number one, and then the boys go, I think, oh man, they're going to shoot so many threes. I hope we can match their 3-point barrage, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody walked up. I was like, "What's the score?" I said, "We're winning by like 10." I'm like, "Oh, great, right?" So I know that was I don't think people expected that big of a point swing, right? I think they thought that we lost to Livingston over there. But I thought, hey, listen, we can compete with them. We can beat them by a few points. But we went in there and just dominated that night. Yeah. So what do you think went well that night? So what clicked so well that night for you guys?
I think, our guards were hitting threes. They were playing defense. Everybody was rebounding, putting shots back up. Like, I don't think Livingston wasn't expecting that.
So. Right. Do you think that you feel like the home crowd played a big advantage there? Yeah, I mean, Roy Sewell's a fun place to play. It's also hard for the opponents because, man, when those threes start getting hit or things start going the right way, all of a sudden it gets exciting. The band over there playing, Donnell got the band playing "Shut Up and Dance with Me," all that good stuff, right? But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be at that gym. So, but I remember just getting excited when I heard. I was like, "Wow, that was a huge score. That's big for us in both the girls and the guys' side, obviously." Yeah. So they like to shoot their threes in boys basketball. They don't really play with a post a lot, not as much. They have like one guy they'll throw in there as a post sometimes, but they like to play like 5 out. Yeah. It's a fascinating way to play. So, but yeah, so cool beans. So, and then of course the Upperman game. And then what was the score at home against Upperman?
I'm not really sure, but we ended up beating them by like 20-something points, I think.
Nice. So they barely kind of pulled out the win over. In fact, that was the game I think There wasn't their crowd chanting, I believe that we just won. But there's like 0.1 second to go on the clock. They have to inbound, and we're only down by 3.
Yeah.
If we get a quick steal and a 3, they could have. I mean, that would have been so embarrassing, right? Because they thought they had the win, and all of a sudden, nope, not quite, right? So I think that was a little premature there to start chanting all that when you're only up by 3. There's 0.7. So they barely got the win over there. Then they came back to our house and we put it to them. So that's good stuff. Now, what places have been going into the district? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
It's Livingston, and then who's second place? Is it either?
I think Upperman is second.
Oh, Upperman's second, and then it's Cumberland third. Yeah, Cumberland's third, and then us fourth, and then fifth is DeKalb, I guess, and then Macon sixth. Right. So okay.
I think Stone might be 6th, and then Macon's after them.
So is there 7 teams in the district?
Yes, I think so.
Really? Fascinating. Okay, I guess that is right. There is 7 teams in the district. So, okay, so I guess, do they play a playing game on Monday?
They might. I need to look it up somewhere.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how you do a 7-team district. But okay, well that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, I forget that. Yeah, Stone. So it's Stone, Macon. Now Macon County, I don't think they're in our district next year.
Yeah, they might not.
I think they drop out, so that'll be interesting. That was a fun trip over to Lafayette. I think it's called Lafayette. I don't think it's Lafayette. I think it's Lafayette. So so got to learn that. Well, the fun thing was I went that night. I went there. I was told there's no easy way to get to Lafayette, and I thought, well, what is that for? Macon County. And the Siri took me all over the mountain. If somebody would have just told me go to Carthage and go that way, the trip back was way easier than the trip up. I thought, wow, what are we doing here? But yes, that'd be. I think they're in a different district, maybe different classification. Who knows next year? But it's been fun, obviously, having them in the district this year. But it's coming down to the nitty gritty here. So I know y'all are excited. And you're playing good basketball, so it's exciting times to be able to play that good basketball and make that run. Hopefully get back to the region tournament and then maybe get us back to Southern State. And we'll see what happens from there, right? So hopefully we can end up in the Glass House. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping if we can get back to the Glass House, we can start getting to those kind of games. We'll get all the seniors back in here and have one more good interview before the state tournament. So no, that's exciting. Of course, hopefully you'll be with track after the first week of March because that is the Glass House. So I know that track coach will be looking forward to having you, but take your time. No, take your time. Love to see some Warrior at basketball in March. That'd be some good stuff. That'd be some good stuff. And I know that's what y'all want. I know that the cool thing about a program like y'all is, if you were to get beat in the region or something like that, the town's going to embrace you guys. They love you guys. They cheer you guys. But every year they believe you guys can make the state. And that's such an exciting tradition to be a part of. And I know you're going to be excited about that next year. How many seniors do we have to come back next year? Or if everything works out the way it's supposed to.
So next year, the seniors,
right?
There'll only be 2.
It'll be just 2.
Yeah.
So you and who else?
Piper Price.
You and Piper Price. So she went in the game last night. She played some minutes last night. Yeah. So I got to meet her parents actually at Warren County. Yes, I sat next to them. It was Piper's parents, and then right next to me was the Mr. Wilson. Oh my gosh! Let me tell you something. I have so much fun with him watching. He'll actually start commentating with me and start talking. And if you sit with him for 5 minutes, you're going to learn some kind of history about White County. I love it. I've learned so much from him, or just about life in general. I just love. He was last night. He actually chimed in on the show at the very end of the game. He was in Huntsville, Alabama last night, so he wasn't able to be there last night. He said, I hate to miss a game, but I'm in Huntsville, Alabama last night. But when he's up there with me, it's so much fun. It is so much having him, me and him both going back and forth. It's a lot of fun. But that was a fun night over at Warren. That was an overtime thriller. So that was an overtime thriller. We could have had that one, but it just didn't work out that night. But I think didn't we tie it up at the very? We tied it up at the very end to go to overtime. Correct? Yeah. That's right. So. Yeah, well, Celeste, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and of course, obviously next year when you're a senior, we'll have you back on here for sure, and so different things like that. Exciting times for that kind of thing. So, look forward to that. It's been a lot of fun streaming y'all's games. I'm not sure I'll be streaming any more y'all's. There's a lot of TWSBA regulations about postseason, so it may be that if we're in like the district championship, we might put up some different things and get the game streaming away. But and I don't think the Warrior Media is streaming the home game because again, there's a lot of just financial restrictions when it comes to postseason play. But it's been so much fun covering your games and watching you go to work. Can't wait to watch you next year. But we got this season to finish and in March, not in February, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Celeste, thank you for coming on the show. Good to have you. Celeste Reed, everybody. So a great player here. And I think Christian just texted me he's not able to make it today. So, but we're going to conclude that for today for this edition of the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. And next week we're going to have some spring sports coaches coming on here and talking about a little bit of track, a little bit of softball. We've also got Coach Beatty we're working on getting him on here to talk about the new head football coach coming on in here. So had different just kind of mix-ups with that, but haven't been able to get him on here yet. But he should be coming on here in the next couple of weeks. So we got some exciting episodes coming up, and hopefully we'll be able to get Christian on here next week for the hopefully the season keeps going. Hopefully they get their win and move on. So either way, thank you, Celeste, for coming on the show. Y'all have a great day. God bless and go White.